G'day viewers, Retro Man here. I'm back with another Sword and Sorcery retrospective. Today I'll be talking about the sequel, The Outlaw of Gor.
We must change our clothes. We're too visible like this.
But I'm hungry.
You're always hungry. Come on, move.
This fascinating little film, it's fascinating really. I use that word because it's fascinating that it exists.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under, it's the 80s Show with Australia's Retro Man. On tonight's show, Retro Man does a retrospective on The Outlaw of Gor, a sword and sorcery film from the Canon catalogue. Well, what are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man!
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now today I'm back to talk more about sword and sorcery films in the 80s. In particular, I will be doing a retrospective on The Outlaw of Gor, starring Urbano Barberini and Rebecca Ferrati. Now, if you've been watching the channel, you will have seen that I talked about Gor not long ago. That was the first film, 1987, that one came out, and this sequel was made at the very same time. So they made the two films together. This one's called The Outlaw of Gor. It has a date sometimes of 1988, but by the time most people saw it, it came out in video stores in 89. Now, the guy responsible for this sequel is John Bud Cardos. Now, he's a guy that's actually more than just your average director. John Bud, he was an actor and he was a stuntman. And back in the 60s, he actually made a lot of these exploitation biker films. So here he is doing a gore film. There was a different director for the first one. John Bud came in and took over, and hey, I mean, what can you expect? This is a really cheap sword and sorcery film, an exploitation film to a degree, and it's just casual entertainment. It's a video renter's dream back in the 80s. I mean, you just put $1 out there, took home a tape, and just sat back and hey, it took you to another time, another place, another world in this instance, and it offered some action and some fun. So anyway, guys, Urbano's back as Tal, the college professor who lands in the mystical world of Gor, and Rebecca Ferrati is back as Talina, the warrior woman. But in this film, she's kind of a little bit more of a doting girlfriend to Tal. So at the start of the film, we see Tal in our world, and he's this buttoned-up college professor, and he's hanging out at a bar with a buddy of his. He's also a college professor. And anyway, they're trying to sort of maybe pick up women in this bar, having a bit of a night out, and his buddy, Tal's buddy, is not having a lot of success with women, and his mind is kind of racing, and he's thinking about the first film. So at the start, we get a little bit of a recap of the original Gor, and then the two guys leave this bar, and all of a sudden, Tal is wearing that mystical ring, and he's transported with his buddy back to the land of Gor. Now, a funny thing about this is that when he lands, I mean, his name is Tal Cabot. And in the first film, from memory, everyone's calling him Tal. And in this film, he arrives there back in Gor, and everyone's calling out, Cabot, Cabot, Cabot. And it's said about 50 times. I kind of lost count. But everyone is saying his surname, and he's being bombarded. Cabot, Cabot's back, Cabot's here. And it's kind of amusing.
Cabot, there's something you haven't told me. Oh, quite a lot.
Who are you?
My name is Cabot.
Cabot?
Cabot!
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 Cabot?
I'm looking for Marlenus.
Marlenus Castle? It's just on the road. Follow the road.
Thanks.
Cabot! Cabot!
Anyway, the first sort of action sequence in this film is Tal having a fight in his jeans. Yes, he's not stripped down in Conan mode. He's in a pair of jeans because he's just wound up in this mystical world, and then he kind of settles into his usual Gor garb as the film progresses. Now, as I said, Rebecca Ferrati kind of is the doting girlfriend to Tal this time, and we don't get that warrior woman stuff that was going on in the first film, so she's a little bit subdued, but I must say she does step it up in one sequence. She actually fights one woman, and then later on she fights two, and that's quite amusing. And also, you know who else is returning in a much bigger role is Jack Palance. Now, Jack Palance actually appeared at the end of Gor, and he takes on a bigger, meatier role this time around. I mean, we all know Jack Palance from those spaghetti westerns and those countless villainous roles he's played over the years. But around this time, Jack was trying to get back into the big films again. And I mean, he appeared in both Gor films. But shortly after this, he was in Tango and Cash with Stallone. And he also left an impression in that Batman film when Joker Jack disposed of him. And it wasn't long after that that Jack was up for an Oscar for his fantastic portrayal of Curly in City Slickers. But when you see him here in Gor, you go, oh, geez, Jack Palance, what's he even doing in this film? I mean, this is definitely a subpar sequel. I mean, some people have called The Outlaw of Gor one of the worst sequels ever, but, you know, it's a hokey sword and sorcery film. So kind of, what do you expect? There's not a big budget that this film has. I mean, it's all shot on these open locations with a couple of minor sets here and there. And it is hokey, campy, sword and sorcery stuff. Now, let's get it right, guys. There wasn't too many sword and sorcery productions in the 80s that reached the heights of the Conan films. I mean, those Conan films with Arnold set a bar, and all of these other ones that followed certainly fell short, and The Outlaw of Gor kind of fell well short. And the ending of this film, guys, I mean, it's nothing flashy really. I mean, it kind of ends a bit abruptly, if anything. I mean, the bad woman, the villainess, she kind of cops it in the guts quick. And before that, Jack Palance was knocked off suddenly, and there's a bit of chaos going around, you know, with Tal Cabot is fighting and some other people are fighting as well, and then all of a sudden it ends, and Tal and his college professor buddy are back in our world again, probably waiting to get zapped back to Gor for a third one, but they never made a third film. It all ended here with The Outlaw of Gor.
Stop.
Anyway, back to Jack Palance, and I mean, what's he doing in this film? Well, he's essentially taking a paycheck and just hanging out on the set wearing these oversized hats. I mean, he's got this magician's type hat on in this film. I mean, it's kind of like they went to a $5 magician's shop in Las Vegas and bought a hat and said, Jack, whack this on. And hey, I mean, he does sort of suit the part, I guess, but it's not his best performance. And as I said, Urbano and Rebecca are back, and there's a real hokiness to it, but it's the Gor sequel that did anybody want? I mean, it kind of is a continuation of the first film, but did we need more Gor? Well, I'm still glad that it happened. Gor is this franchise that kind of, you know, it's there. They were based on John Norman books, but they kind of missed the mark with the film adaptations, and I think that is why people have kind of stayed away from this source material, and they're not making any more Gor things today. But you never know. Gor might come back in some form, but in the 80s, this is what we had. We had Gor and the Outlaw of Gor, and we just had to wear it. This was another sword and sorcery franchise that was a bit subpar, but still offered some action, some frills, some cheesy stunts, and a little bit of a transportation fantasy element there that was all the rage in the 80s. So there we have it, guys. That's my little take on The Outlaw of Gor. I mean, you've probably stumbled on this film. It was actually doing the rounds on Mystery Science Theatre 3000. I mean, they had a lot of fun making fun of this film. And yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had. It's definitely not a great sequel, but it exists. And it's sword and sorcery fun. So if you like that sort of thing, check it out. Anyway, guys, that's my take on The Outlaw of Gor. Tell me, have you seen it? I mean, you couldn't really escape the Gor films. They were on your rental shelves, they were in your face, and if you liked Conan, you couldn't help but rent them. So there we have it, guys. Share your thoughts and memories on The Outlaw of Gor, and keep watching The 80s Show, because I will be back with more sword and sorcery films from the 80s. I mean, this is a genre that is a lot of fun to explore, and I will be back to talk more about it. Anyway, guys, in the meantime, please like, comment, and subscribe, and actually hit that little bell so you know when my videos arrive there for you to consume. Anyway, guys, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and more powerful than Conan the Barbarian. Please subscribe, and good night, viewers.